So say hello when you hop on. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Where are you tuning in from? And how you're feeling today. So let me know in the comments, and we're going to get started here shortly. So if you do not know who I am, I'll go through this really quickly for those of you who may be watching this and you're like, who's this lady? So I'm Kendra Woods of KendraKWoods.com, and I am a transformation coach to rising female entrepreneurs. And this is part 3 of my Facebook Love Stream series that I'm doing around mindset traps that are holding you back and blocking you from creating the success that you desire in your business, in your life, in all areas, right? But more specifically in your business. For those of you women right now who have businesses that you are building on the side as you are working your corporate job, or maybe you have a business idea, this is for you. And if you're watching the replay, I want to ask you to just comment #replay so that I can come back around and just say hi to you and connect with you. All right. So over the past couple of weeks, I have been sharing with you mindset traps that I find are very common, right? I see them pop up a lot, not only in myself, but also in the clients that I work with, and I want to share them with you. And the reason I want to share them with you is because I know that there is so much power behind awareness. When you become aware of thought patterns and mindsets that are disempowering, when you become aware of them, then you have the power to change them. You have the power to think something different. And I've said this over the past 2 weeks, but your mindset is literally just a set of beliefs, right? And a belief is simply something that you have thought over and over and over and over and over again, to the point that it's unconscious. You don't even think of it anymore. It just is what it is. And that belief is hindering the action that you should be taking in your business and in your life, right? Because your body and your mind is operating from this belief that's not serving you. So my hope with this series is to kind of get your mind really, to open up your consciousness a bit, right? To open up your mind to get curious around what are some of the thoughts and ways of thinking and emotions that I'm having that could be blocking me from getting to where I'm going. And so this is definitely a discussion. So I want to hear from you in the comments. I want to know if what I say to you resonates, if you get it. And I'm going to ask you to leave me some comments as we're moving along, okay? So tonight, I'm going to share with you 2 more mindset traps that I want you to be aware of. And not only am I going to share with you what they are, I'm also going to provide you with some tips and some strategies on how you can move through them. Because it's one thing to be aware of them and to know what they are, but it's another thing to really know how do you move through them? Like, how do I overcome this mindset, Kendra, right? So that's what we're going to do tonight. All right, so we're going to dive right in. So the mindset we're going to talk about tonight is the 5th mindset trap, and it is all or nothing thinking, right? It's this mindset of all or nothing. Or I even sometimes call it, or you might have heard other people call it, black and white thinking. You just only think in 2 terms, either black and white, that's it, or all or nothing, and that's it. And this is a mindset and a way of being that can really hinder your forward motion in your life and in your business. And I want to help you understand what that looks like. And so there's a quote that I have. Y'all know I love quotes, and I'm going to share with you. And it says, "Don't define your world in black and white, because there's so much hiding amongst the grays." All right? And I'm going to break that down for you, because there's so much waiting for you amongst the parts of your being and mind that maybe you haven't thought of before. All right. So when you have an all or nothing mindset, what happens is you are thinking in extremes, right? You are leaving yourself no room for gray. It's either this or it's nothing. Okay, so that's literally what I mean by that. And you lose focus of where it is that you're going and what it is that you want to accomplish because you're so focused on what it must be. So I want you to think about a time where maybe you were, I'm going to give you a couple of examples, but I want to invite you to think about a time when you were working on something in your business, or you were working on something personally for yourself and on your body, and you just had your mind fixed on what it had to be, on how it had to show up, right? And what happened when you didn't meet the goal? Like, what happened when you did not reach that one thing that you were focused on? I want you to let me know in the comments. Think about the goals that you set for yourself. And some of them I'm sure you've achieved, right? But there are probably some that maybe you missed a little bit. I want to know about those. What did you do when you set a goal for yourself, when you had a vision and you were focused on it and it didn't happen? What did you do? Let me know in the comments. Did you beat yourself up about it? Did you wallow in self-pity like, well, why didn't it happen? Did you immediately think something must be wrong with you? Right? Let me know in the comments, what you did in those moments. And so I'll give you an example to help you really pull this together. So let's say you had a goal. We're going to say a money goal, a really small money goal. Maybe you had a goal of saving $200, right? And so you diligently did everything you could. You worked and did all that you could to save $200. Like, that was your goal. That's what you were going for. That was it. So let's say at the end of the time period that you gave yourself, you only was able to save $100 or $150, right? Or maybe $175. And it was short. It was short of the $200 mark that you had set for yourself. What happens then? So when you have this mindset of all or nothing thinking, what happens is you forget all about the fact that you saved $175 or $100. You forget all about that, and you beat yourself up because you didn't reach your goal. So see, the gray in this is that you did accomplish something, right? You saved $175. But when you have all or nothing thinking, you completely miss the fact that you actually created some momentum for yourself. Let's take this to business, right? Let's say you have a business and you have someone that reaches out to you. And I've had this happen to me before. I've had people reach out to me and they'll book a discovery session with me, and I'm so excited, and I read the answers to the questions that I ask them, and I get so excited because I'm reading through it and I'm like, yes, I can really help this person. And yes, I can't wait to talk to this person. We get on the phone, we get to talking, everything's going great. And then all of a sudden, towards the end of the conversation, we talk about how I can help them and all this good stuff. And they decide that they're like, well, I need to think about it, right? I need to think about it. And I'm like, okay, cool, think about it. And then they ghost me, right? Like, that has happened before. Not a lot, but a couple of times it's happened. And they completely fall off the face of the earth. And I'm like, well, where do they go? Like, we just talked the other day and all of a sudden you're gone. So in that moment, I could beat myself up because you didn't get the sale, Kendra. You didn't get the client. You didn't enroll the client. I could beat myself up for that, or I can choose to look at the gray and recognize that I had the opportunity to speak to someone on the phone and help them gain even a little bit of clarity, right? I could look at the fact that I got to hone my skill even more. Hey, April, that I got to hone my skill even more by talking to this woman on the phone, right? So all or nothing thinking would leave me beating myself up and thinking that I'm a failure because I didn't enroll that one client, or I didn't enroll those two clients. But if I can shift out of that all or nothing thinking and choose to see the gray, I can then congratulate myself for the fact that I had someone that actually reached out to me and said, hey, I want to talk to you, right? I didn't have to go and chase someone down and say, hey, come talk to me. And so what I want you to understand with this is that whatever vision you have for yourself, for your business, for your life, whatever vision you have for yourself, give yourself the grace to pay attention to all of the forward movement that you're making in your business, right? If you're stuck in this all or nothing mindset, hey, Ariana, if you're stuck in this all or nothing mindset, then nothing is good enough, because it either has to be this thing here that I say it has to be, or it's nothing. And you completely miss all of the beautiful happenings that take place in between all that, right? And so I'm going to give you one more example here, because I really want to bring this home. And this is going to be a really simple one. So let's say that you are wanting to better your health, right? You want to start eating better. And so you decide that you're going to shift your diet a little bit, right? You're going to start focusing on eating vegetables and fruits and drinking more water, right? So if you're a woman who's stuck in this all or nothing thinking, then that one day when you slip and have a cookie, you're going to flip out and think you've ruined your new way of eating. You're going to think that, oh my gosh, now I've just ruined myself. And when you get in that mindset of, oh, I've done it again. Why can't I get this right? When you get in that mindset, that's when the ways that you sabotage yourself have an open door to come right in. Right? So then what do? You go and eat 2 and 3, 4 more cookies, right? You completely take yourself off track. The example I used earlier with the money, where you wanted to save $200 and instead of saving that, you saved $175. When you stay in the mindset of all or nothing thinking, you'll sabotage yourself by spending that money on frivolous things. And so the point that I want to make with this mindset is that when you stay in that space of all or nothing thinking, you end up sabotaging yourself, and you have to then start all over again from the beginning. Whereas if you can allow yourself some grace and say, all right, well, maybe I didn't get the exact goal that I was looking for, but I did reach this goal. I did accomplish this. I did do this, right? When you can do that, then you're not starting all over again. You're simply just picking up where you left off, right? Let me know in the comments, y'all, if this is making sense, if you're getting this. Yeah, Ariana says, yes, this is so true. Let me know if you're getting this. And I want you to be honest too. Do you find yourself thinking like this sometimes? Do you find yourself beating yourself up because you've got this black and white way of thinking that says, well, it has to be this or nothing? And what I want to invite you to do today is to give yourself permission to play in the gray a little bit, right? And if we don't, then what begins to happen is we start feeling anxious, right? We start feeling anxious, we start feeling frustrated, and overwhelmed, because the more we stay in that mindset of all or nothing thinking, you are sending a message to your body that something is wrong. And so when we send that message to our body that something's wrong, we're activating that fight or flight response that says, oh my gosh, I've got to do something. And what we do today is we sabotage ourselves, right? We do things that we know are going to hinder us moving forward. And it's just this loop that we keep moving ourselves in. And so like I've said over the past 2 videos in this series, is that we've got to stop the pattern, right? You've got to interrupt the pattern. Okay? And so you've got to be okay with that and be good where you are so that you can pick up and keep taking those steps forward, right? So Ariana says, oh yes, I have to celebrate my 54 views to the first video I created for my new YouTube video. It's a small start, but it's a start. Absolutely. Yes, those are the things, right? Like I know, like Ariana, I know you have like this like big visions and dreams, right? And so you would love to get hundreds and hundreds and maybe even thousands of views on your Facebook video, on your YouTube video. So you could beat yourself up for the fact that you didn't get there, or you could keep your vibration high by celebrating the fact that 54 unique individual people decided to look at your video. Right? Absolutely. This is how we step into our power, ladies, and create that momentum to move ourselves forward. Right? So here are a couple of words that I want you to become familiar with that will help clue you in to when you're operating from that space of all or nothing thinking. And the first word is always, right? Do you find yourself saying the word always? I always mess up my momentum, by stopping right before I get the goal, or gosh, I'm always like getting in my way, or I'm always messing up my new health regimen, or I'm always doubting myself, right? Pay attention to that word. So I want you to, if you're here live right now or even watching the replay, type the word always in the comments for me. The next word is nothing. Nothing. Pay attention to when you use the word nothing. So this could be, for instance, let's say one morning you woke up and you missed your alarm for some reason, or you put your alarm on snooze by mistake and you fell back asleep, right? Who hasn't done that? I've done that. And so then you get into your day and things seem messed up, and you run into a coworker or you run into a friend and you say, girl, nothing is going right today. Nothing is going right for me this morning. Right? When you catch yourself saying that word, stop. Just stop and say, ooh, wait a minute, let me cancel that. There are things that are working for me this morning, right? And it's the moment you do that, your consciousness goes, right? And your level of awareness just opens up so big, and you step into your power in that moment. So type the word nothing in the comments for me. Even my replay viewers, which I know will be there, comment nothing below. All right, the last word is completely. Completely. How this applies is you won't necessarily say this word completely, but your energy is behind this. Where let's say you're working on a project and your way of thinking, your mindset says, I have to completely give myself to this project or it's not going to work out. Or I have to completely, put everything behind this or it's not going to happen. Right? If you're thinking that you have to put every single ounce and bit of juice behind this one thing where you're completely giving all of yourself, then you're blocking yourself from seeing other ways that could support you and moving this project along. Right? So completely is the last word. Put that word in the comments as well, completely. Always, nothing, completely. And so what I want you to understand is that when you're in this mindset of all or nothing thinking, what we're doing, and I've done it too, y'all, I've done it too, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up, right? And I don't want you to set yourself up. I want you to set yourself up for success, right? So you're setting yourself up for failure, and then you're also putting this pressure on yourself to rise to unrealistic expectations, right? And you're putting pressure on yourself. And when you're pressured, again, you feel anxious, you feel overwhelmed, your thinking's not clear, and really you're not being productive, right? And so you may find yourself in this vicious cycle of starting and stopping, starting and stopping, starting and stopping, right? And how many of us here have started projects and have never finished them, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but notice when it becomes a pattern. that you're always starting something and then stopping it, right? And get curious about, well, why do I do that? Right? Why do I do that? Like, why do I start things and not finish them? Like, what is up with that? So now that we've covered that, here's what I want to give you. I want to give you a couple of tips to help you move through this. And the first one is this. One of the things that we have got to do, especially as women, is we have to separate our performance from our self-worth, right? Separate your performance from self-worth. So what I mean by that is understand that regardless of how you perform in your business, in your career, understand that none of that has nothing to do with how worthy you are. Your worthiness stands alone, and nothing can taint your worthiness. Nothing can decrease your worthiness, like, because worthiness just is. Your worthiness just is. And I want nothing more than you to just own that and understand that regardless of what happens in your business, it doesn't mean you're worth any less, right? It's not tied to that. Your worthiness stands on its own, okay? And so what we have learned growing up is this is a learned way of being. We learned that if we didn't perform at a certain level, that we weren't good, right? You're not a good girl unless you get the good grades, unless you sit quiet in class, unless you follow instructions, unless you speak only when spoken to, right? Then you're a good girl. And so then that conditioning gets downloaded within you. And so when you become a woman who has her own business and her own ideas and her own way of being, you beat yourself up, you think that you're not worthy because you didn't reach the goal, because you didn't get the thing, because you didn't get the client. And again, it's a vicious cycle, okay? And so separate the two. Your worthiness is not tied to how much money you make. Your worthiness is not tied to what your performance level is. Your worthiness is not tied to anything. Your worthiness stands alone. It just is, right? Send me some love hearts if you are with me. Send me some love hearts if you can right now affirm to yourself that my worthiness just is. It's not tied to my performance. It's not tied to the money I have, the lack of money or the surplus of money I have in my bank account. My worthiness just is because I'm breathing, right? All right. The second tip that I want to give you around this is to pay attention to your language. So remember earlier I said that there are certain words that when you say them, they will give you clues for you to recognize that you're in that all or nothing mindset. So always, nothing, completely, can't is another word, or everyone or no one, right? Like no one listens to me, right? Everyone's against me. Like those words are exclusive of, they're just, it's either this or it's not that. Okay, so pay attention to your language. And last, I'm going to give you a journal prompt. Y'all know I love to journal. Y'all know that journaling is my thing and it's so transformative. So, here's your journal prompt. What other ways can I perceive this situation? What other ways can I perceive the situation? So when you find yourself, the next time you find yourself in that space of beating yourself up and, this all or nothing thinking, I want you to take a step back, take a breath, get your journal out and say, how else can I perceive the situation? How else can I see this differently? And be willing to see it differently, because when we are willing to see a situation different, we open up new ways of creating a solution for ourselves. The ideas will then flow to you, right? It's a matter of being constricted in this whole, oh my gosh, I'm horrible, I didn't make it, I didn't hit the goal, what's wrong with me, to wait a minute, how else can I see this differently, right? Your eyes open, your body opens up, and you become available to receive the ideas, the solutions that are meant for you, right? So Ariana says, yes, the vibrations we send out attract those same vibrations. Exactly. So the goal is to no longer be a vibrational match for the stuff that you don't want, and to start being a vibrational match for the things that you do want. All right. So when you open your journal up and you ask yourself, well, how else, how can I perceive the situation differently? You're then aligning your energy with the solution, right? You're aligning your energy with the ideas that want to come to you, right? Okay, I could stay on that one all day. So that's your journal prompt for that one, and your tips. So the next mindset trap I want to share with you, this is the last one I will share with you today, is analysis paralysis. Who is with me on this one? Come on, ladies. Analysis paralysis. Can I just get an amen? Because, whoo, I've gotten so much better with this. Oh, so much better. Right now I can recognize it and shift through that so quickly. But there was a time when I would spend months. And you know what? let me take that back, because there was a situation last year, and I'll share this with you, that I analyzed for months. And I'll tell you about it in a second. I analyzed it for months, and it was the most simple thing that I could do. But because I had this idea that it had to be a certain way, it had to be perfect, and I had to have the right this and the right that and the right person and the right this and that, because I had to have all these little things, I just stayed in analysis mode for months. And so let's talk about this for a moment. Because analysis paralysis just stops you in your tracks, right? Period. It just stops you. Nothing happens. So when you're in that mindset, I want you to know that thinking on the things that you desire to see happen in your business, thinking on them does not make them so, right? Now let me back up. I know that I am a big believer that, yes, our thoughts become things, right? I am a big believer of that. But in order for your thoughts to become things, in order for that dream that you hold in your mind to actually become a physical thing, you got to take some action, right? And when you're in analysis mode, you're not taking action, right? So think about that. This mindset trap is so pervasive in our world today, because honestly, ladies, here's the thing. Here's what it is. You're afraid of making a mistake, right? You're afraid that, oh, what if I make the wrong choice? What if it doesn't come out this way? What if it's wrong? We're so afraid of being wrong that we do nothing, right? And so I want to move you and inspire you today to do something, to take some action, okay? And here's the thing. It's easy. Here's where this can be really sneaky, because it could be so easy for you to say, oh no, girl, I'm not analyzing this too much. I'm just doing my research, making sure I have all my ducks in a row, and making sure that, I've got everything lined up. And we could do all this talking and talking yourself into this idea that we're just researching, that we just stay stuck without making a decision. And so what I want you to know right now is that successful women in business are decisive, right? I'm not saying they don't take the time to really, sit with it and think on it, because successful women do that. But what I'm saying is they give themselves boundaries around how long they're going to give themselves permission. And so that's one of the principles that I've started implementing with myself is, all right, I'm going to give myself the week to think on this. Right? Depending on what it is, I'm going to give myself a couple of days or a week to think on this and sit with it and pray about it, and I'll journal on it and, really just kind of fill into what I think about it. And then I'm making a decision. That is stepping into your power. Instead of you being pulled and tugged around by this whole idea and thought and taking up energetic space in your beautiful being, you then say, all right, I'm giving myself 3 days to ruminate on this. I'm giving myself a week to get clear on this. And then I'm making a decision. And then in that time, you do the work to get the clarity that you desire, and you make a decision. And you trust, right, that whatever decision you make is the right one. I have an affirmation that I say to myself all the time, and I even write it in my journal. I cannot mess this up. Right? As it pertains to my business, right? Because I have that fear too, where it's like, I want it to be perfect. I want it to be just right. I want to make this impact. I want to, live my purpose. And so here's the thing is I'll write to myself, hey, Megan, I'll write to myself in my journal. I'll say, you know what? I can't mess this up. I can't mess this up. I can't make a mistake. All of the decisions I can make for myself are the right decision. I always make right decisions. That's another one. I always make right decisions. Right? Because I'm further implanting this belief and trust in myself that, Kendra, no matter what happens, you've got this, right? If you make a decision and it doesn't turn out the way you think that it should have turned out, it's okay. You can still keep moving forward, right? You can still keep taking those steps forward. You may need to readjust and swivel a little bit and shift some things around, but you can still keep going. And so when you affirm that to yourself, you don't give any room for that voice to show up and say, well, are you sure? What if you make a mistake? What if you fail? Right? So say that affirmation to yourself and realize that analysis paralysis is a way that you're trying to protect yourself, right? And that's okay. Acknowledge it. Okay, I see what you're doing here. I see you're trying to protect me, but I got this and it's okay. I'm going to choose to trust. I'm going to choose to take the step anyway. Because the secret is when you trust and take that step anyway, that is where you grow. That's where you learn. That is where you start building that internal muscle of resilience to know that you can go the extra mile. Okay? So here's my thing. Here's what I analyzed for months last month. And it's going to sound so silly, but I'm going to share it anyway. So last year, I knew that one of my goals coming into 2020 is I wanted to amplify my presence in a way where it felt more professional and more in alignment with where I wanted to go, right? I wanted to, and I knew part of that was I needed to get some professional photos taken, right? Now, mind you, let me just tell y'all right now, I am a woman who loves the camera. I love the camera. And I'm not ashamed to even say it. I love the camera. I love taking pictures. I love getting my hair done and makeup done and taking pictures, right? So why was this idea of me getting new photos taken such a big deal? Why did I stay in analysis mode for months? And the reason why is because I was stuck on all the details, right? Well, what am I going to wear? Who's going to do my makeup? Who's going to do my hair? What if I find a makeup person and they don't do it the right way? Do I even know what kind of makeup I want to wear? What photographer am I going to use? Y'all, I had all these things going through my mind to the point that I just got fed up with my own stuff, which, by the way, that's a beautiful place to be in when you just get tired of your own crap and you go, you know what? I'm just taking action. And the moment I called the photographer and said, all right, I'm going to use you. Here's my deposit, and I put that deposit down. No. The moment I did that, the moment I said, here's the money, let me just tell you, the person who did my makeup showed up, the perfect outfits that I needed for the shoot showed up. Like it just boom, 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 boom. Like everything just clink, 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 just came into place. Because I decided, because I got out of my head and said, I'm taking action and I'll figure it out along the way. Right? So y'all have heard that phrase, jump and build your wings on the way down. That is seriously the best way I can describe this way of getting out of your head, of being paralyzed from analyzing everything, is to jump and trust that you can build your wings on the way down. You can do it. You will do it. Right? All right, so I'm going to stop preaching on that. I've been on her long enough. So I'm going to give you, so here's how you move through this. Number one is, I've already said this already, but the one tip I want to offer you is to set boundaries. Yes, Ariana, we're blocking our own blessings. Yes. So what I'll share with you, so with this is, the number one tip I'll offer you is this. Number one, set boundaries around your decision making. Decide how long you're going to give yourself to make a decision. So if you have an idea that you want to create in your business, or maybe you have a business idea that you want to launch, right? Or maybe you're in business right now and you're trying to think of a new way to offer your services or whatever it is, give yourself a time limit and say, all right, I'm giving myself a week, 2 weeks, depending on what it is. If it's a really big move that's going to create a huge change in your life, maybe you give yourself a month, right? But give yourself some boundaries and say, this is the block of time I'm giving myself. And then during that time, commit to doing the work to get clear, right? Have the conversations, write in your journal, write out what the vision is, get clear on it, okay? And then the next step that I would take, the number two thing is to ask for guidance. And here's what I mean by that. Yes, you can ask for guidance from your mentors, coaches, things like that. But go sit down somewhere and get quiet and focus on your breath and ask God for guidance, right? Ask him to guide you. I do this all the time in my business now, like literally all the time. For the littlest things, I'll say, all right, God, all right, angels, all right, all beings of love, light, and compassion. I know I have a whole team around me. I know this. In the spiritual realm, I have a whole team around me that wants to see me succeed. And so I sit down and I say, all right, I'm asking for guidance. I have no idea which way to go on this. Can you bring me some guidance into my life? Maybe it's a particular person, or it's a book, or it's a post I see on Facebook, or it's a book I see in the bookstore. Guidance will come when you ask for it. And one of the things that us women can have challenges with sometimes is we fail to ask. And I don't mean like asking physically the people around you. I mean asking the one who created you, right? Ask source. Hey, I need some help here. I need some guidance. And trust and know and believe that the guidance will come. It always does when you open your eyes to it, all right? And here's the journal prompt. One journal prompt. Let's see, which one do I want to give you? So here's a journal prompt that will help you gain some clarity around you being more decisive. And it is, what does it feel like and what does it look like for me to make decisive decisions? So what does it look like and what does it feel like for me to be decisive? Write that down and spend some time just journaling on that. Don't think about what the answer is supposed to be. Just let your pen flow. What does it look and feel like when I'm decisive? Right? What does it look like? What does it look like in my business? What does it look like in my life? What does it look like in my health, in my finances, in my relationships? That brings you so much clarity. And again, and I've been saying this over and over again, this is how you step into your power and control the things that you can control, right? Which is all the stuff that's happening inside of here. Because when you do that, the things outside of you will begin to change, right? Your actions will begin to change. All right, I'm gonna get off. I've been on here for 46 minutes, y'all. I did not mean to go this long, but I hope that you gain tremendous value from this and that you will take the tips and the journal prompts that I've shared with you and you will use them. All right, so let me know in the comments, was this good for you? What was good about this live training today? Let me know in the comments. What was good about this? What did you learn? What resonated with you, right? I'm gonna hang out for a few moments and wait for some comments to come through because they're always lagging. So I'm gonna hang out for a moment, but I want to know, like, what is it that you took away from today? What are you taking away from today? Yes, Ariana, we are blocking our own blessings. Yes, and trusting. Yes, yes, yes. Let me know what you think. What came up for you? What do you get to shift? Thank you, Ariana. I love you too, girl. And you keep walking in your purpose, honey. You are doing your thing. I love seeing it. So thank you. All right, who else? Who else is here with us that wants to leave a comment? I'll hang out for a little bit more because I know you may be typing and you haven't hit comment yet, but I am looking for it. So Ariana says, I always move in alignment to the nuggets of wisdom you share. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you do. I'm glad that you do. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else? And if you're watching the replay, I want to see your comments too. Just because you're not here live does not mean that I don't want to see what you got to say. So, all right. So Ariana says, just this week, I decided to be more decisive, to get out of my head, and it's working. Thank you for the journal prompt. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. And we've got to remind ourselves of this, often. And I mean, I still need to do it. I get in little funks where I just get so agitated and frustrated until I realize, wait a minute, Kendra, you're overthinking this. Just make a decision and move with it, right? All right, my loves. I am going to leave you. I'm going to go make some dinner. So I love you all so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me this long. And I hope that this message served you today. Share this video if you feel that it could be useful for someone else in your life. And leave your comments below. I will come back and definitely check them out and engage with you and connect, all right? I will be back next week and I will share the very last mindset trap that's keeping you blocked and a special announcement I will share with you next week as well. So I'll see you next week. Love y'all. Bye.